Hey, healing family. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the connection between our thyroid and our limbic system. So, I know I've had a lot of requests to put the guided meditations at the beginning of the video and then jump into the scientific explanation more towards the end. So, I am going to jump right into a guided brain retraining limbic system healing script, like a mindfulness meditation script to start with. And then if you hang out until the end of the video, I will get into the science on the limbic system and thyroid health and where the connections are there. So, for the beginning of this video, let's jump right into the meditation, mindfulness, brain retraining script. So, let's begin with some grounding. Let's take a moment and find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Maybe shake out any stress or tension that you're carrying around with you. Give yourself a big hug and a squeeze. And inhale, just relax it all out. A few deep breaths, allowing our bellies to expand on our inhale. And as we exhale, just relaxing into the present moment. Imagine that you're feeling that support of the earth beneath you, even if you're on a bed or a chair, just knowing that down underneath us, we are supported by the earth. We have nature around us all the time. If we're looking out our window, if we're going on a walk later, if we're sitting outside. Imagine that there are roots growing from your feet and anchoring you down into the ground. And this connection with the earth helps you feel safe and rooted and supported. Keeping our awareness in the present moment, rooted with our breath, letting go of any worries or thoughts, and knowing that this time is for our healing. Let's visualize all of our attention and energy into our throat area, where your thyroid gland is located, maybe even gently bringing our hands to our neck and just bringing awareness and love and compassion to this area. And let's imagine a soft, warm light glowing around your throats and radiating a calm, healing energy. Maybe a deep breath in and then a hum on the exhale. Noticing when we bring sound, vibrations, somatics, when we actually root ourselves into that sensation in the area, we're really embodying being here. I definitely believe when we use embodiment practices and we bring ourselves with somatic awareness into these areas, we're connecting with parts of our body on a deeper level, and it becomes easier to bring in the visualization practice. Or if the visualization piece is hard, really just bringing in, like, I'm right here in this area of the body that might be giving me, a different sensation right now that I might be stressing about. How often with traditional Western diagnoses do we start to label it as like bad, right? Like, oh, I have a thyroid issue, I have an imbalance. We really just need an area of our body that needs some extra love and support to heal. So whether we're humming or just massaging our neck or visualizing a nice light surrounding and radiating out from our thyroid to the rest of our body, we're going to envision or feel that we are reducing inflammation, we are calming any overactivity, or maybe we are giving some extra energy to give a little more life if there's some underactivity happening. And we are supporting balance within this gland. And imagine that this light also extends to our immune system, to our limbic system, and guiding it to recognize your thyroid as a part of you and to stop any unnecessary attacks from the immune system, maybe against our thyroid cells. And as you breathe, you're going to see this light or feel this sensation growing brighter and stronger with each inhale and infusing your entire body with healing energy. And on each exhale, we release the tension or the stress or the negativity that might be affecting, and we just shake it away. And maybe we do a hum or like a breath of just breathing that out. So we might want to add a little bit more somatic movement in here. So maybe we're gently swaying from side to side, kind of enjoying like some free movement within our neck, gently moving our neck side to side, tipping our head front and back very gently. And as we feel this movement, we want to feel like maybe we're being cradled or moved by a gentle breeze. And this movement helps to calm the limbic system, and it signals to your brain that you're safe and it's okay to relax. And when we place our hands on our throat again, we're going to imagine that your touch is transforming and offering warmth and healing directly to that thyroid gland. And as we continue to sway, we want to imagine that the thyroid is releasing any tightness or discomfort or inflammation or immune system distress. And this movement is going to unblock any stagnant energy in this area. Let's roll our shoulders back in a circular motion, releasing tension in the neck and upper back, in the throat. We also have a lot of our lymph system that drains into this area. And so any of these areas that are affected when our thyroid is out of balance, feeling your body letting go of the stress or strain and creating some space for healing. When we return to the stillness, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, repeat the affirmation, I am safe, I am calm, I am healing. Picture a gentle stream flowing through your body, washing away stress, inflammation, negative energy, and the stream carries away anything that no longer serves your healing journey and leaves you feeling refreshed and renewed. And allow this time you're spending in mindfulness, in movement, in embodiment, to bring yourself into a state of relaxation where your limbic system can shift gears, can down-regulate, and reduce the chronic stress response that might be contributing to thyroid dysfunction or other dysfunction. If we're dealing with maybe some autoimmune issues with our thyroid, we might want to imagine that your immune system is a team of dedicated healers, and they're scrambling around looking for what they need to work on next. And we're teaching them, we're telling them, they're now learning that they need to work in harmony with our body and recognize that our thyroid is not an enemy, but it's a vital part of our overall well-being. And we need our thyroid to contribute all of the beautiful things that it does for us. And so we visualize that these healers are gently soothing areas of inflammation, reducing any kind of confusion that might have come up with our thyroid and our immune system over time, and bringing back balance to the immune response. And so we imagine our thyroid functioning smoothly and effortlessly and free from any attacks. Now, maybe as part of our healing journey, we are using different medications or other treatments, and this can definitely be used in conjunction with brain retraining. So what I like to do here is imagine that any medications or treatments or holistic treatments, herbs, red light, sauna, whatever it is, imagine that we have this toolbox of healing, all of the tools that we're using to heal, maybe our food, maybe our environment. And we're going to envision this beautiful gold glowing light of healing energy around these tools. And every time we use them, that golden healing energy is entering our body. And it is just planting those seeds that grow into healing for us. And because our limbic system is becoming more calmer and regulated, we are peeling back the layers so that these medications or treatments are much more effective. So when we use limbic system training, at least the way that I use it, we're not saying that the limbic system is the only thing we ever need to work on, but it's a big part of dysregulation. And once we're able to soothe that and bring down that inflammation response, bring down that stress response, we open the doorway. We've peeled back a whole bunch of layers, we've decluttered. So now when we bring in these medications or these treatments, they can flow easily and go where they're needed the most. And there's not going to be any interference from stress or inflammation or nervous system dysregulation. So we see this golden energy from these treatments being absorbed deeply and effectively and enhancing the benefit. And we know that by addressing our limbic system and saying, we are safe, this team of healers, our immune system, our nervous system, you are trying your best to keep me safe, and we are able to step back and relax and just let the good things come in and let the thyroid do its job and let go of the stuff that isn't serving us, whether that's stress or inflammation or infection or immune dysfunction. Let's bring all of this in so that we know that we're doing everything we can. So taking a moment to appreciate the work you've done in this session. And maybe thinking of an affirmation. So taking some time and saying, okay, limbic system, thank you for all you do for me. I know that you always are trying to operate with my highest good in mind. And I know that when I am able to turn down the volume and just remind myself there's nothing dangerous happening right now, I need to take that step back and open up and allow for the healing to really come in. We are going to be taking this step towards healing. We calm the outside noise so that we can focus on the parts of us that need the additional work, the additional healing. So bring our awareness back to our body and then out to our surroundings, wiggling fingers and toes. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and remember to carry this sense of calm with you throughout your day and know that you've created an environment to support your health. So I wanted to talk today. I get a lot of questions about the thyroid, and I've had issues with my thyroid before. Interestingly enough, when I had my daughter, I had postpartum thyroiditis, which is kind of the hormones shifting and doing all their crazy things after pregnancy. You can develop this issue even with autoimmunity or just hormone response, where your thyroid goes to like overactive and then underactive and then has trouble regulating. People with chronic infections or things like that end up with like autoimmune thyroiditis. So I wanted to talk about the limbic system's role in the thyroid. So we know that the limbic system includes structures, the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, amygdala, cingulate gyrus, and we know for a fact that, the basic science is this plays a significant role in regulating emotional responses and stress and autonomic functions. And it impacts our thyroid health because there is a hypothalamus pituitary thyroid or HPT axis, which is a critical hormone pathway. So the connection between the limbic system and thyroid health has a couple different layers to it. So number one, stress response and the HPT axis. The hypothalamus is a part of our limbic system. It regulates the release of thyroid releasing hormone, TRH, which then signals the pituitary gland to release thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, which you probably see on lab work for your thyroid. And then TSH then stimulates the thyroid gland to produce the thyroid hormones, T3 and T4. If you're under chronic stress, which the limbic system either helps to manage or kind of keeps us locked in a chronic stress response, if we're not healing our limbic system, it actually can disrupt this pathway, this hypothalamus and limbic system linked pathway. And the hypothalamus may alter TRH production under chronic stress conditions, and that leads to changes in TSH levels and thyroid hormone levels. Then we look at the second level of the cortisol effect on thyroid function. So the limbic system, especially our amygdala and hippocampus, influences the body's response to stress through the HPA, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And chronic activation of the HPA axis increases our cortisol levels over time. This is like the stress hormone. And this can interfere with conversion of T4, the inactive thyroid hormone, to T3, the active thyroid hormone. And high cortisol can also suppress TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone production, so that further can reduce thyroid function. The third level is the emotional and mental health impact. Emotional states like anxiety, depression, and chronic stress can alter limbic system function, which then dysregulates thyroid function. And then kind of like this never-ending circular effect, thyroid dysfunction can lead to depression and anxiety and kind of be this never-ending cycle unless we disrupt it at a level that we can reach, like the limbic system through limbic system healing, or at the thyroid level through thyroid healing, or ideally both. So the hypothalamus might reduce TRH production under chronic stress or emotional distress, and that affects our hormone levels. Then we have number 4 on kind of our tier of different things affecting our thyroid, autoimmune issues. So the limbic system we know plays a huge role in immune response, and a lot of limbic system dysfunction is related to chronic trauma in the form of viral, bacterial, fungal, mold, toxin overloads. So chronic stress and emotional imbalance can also then exacerbate autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, where the immune system attacks the thyroid. So overall, this limbic system and thyroid connection is pretty strong. And when we can do our part to work on maybe what's more accessible to us in the moment, like the chronic stress piece and the limbic system healing piece, we are able to kind of manage the part that might be more accessible than a doctor trying to go in and directly affect the thyroid with medication, which is still very helpful, but the role that we have is not continuing to pour fuel on the fire by allowing chronic stress to go unchecked, which is just going to further complicate thyroid healing if we have thyroid issues. So when we look at a holistic approach to thyroid healing, number 1, of course, I'm going to say this, we talk about brain retraining a lot on this channel, but with brain retraining and limbic system healing, the goal is obviously to reduce chronic stress, which then reduces inflammation, helping to identify and release emotional triggers that might be dysregulating the HPT axis. And so using Psyche-Soma-Sol, using our meditations, using any of the skills we talk about on here or in the course, we are going to rewire our neural pathways and calm our limbic system so that if we're stuck in a chronic stress response, we shift the brain out of this reactive state and we help to regulate the HPA and HPT axis to improve and support balanced thyroid functioning as a byproduct of improving and supporting our limbic system and our brain health. When we want to balance out this autonomic nervous system by reducing sympathetic fight or flight dominance and enhancing parasympathetic rest and digest states, we incorporate practices like breath work, meditation, mindfulness, somatics, yoga, and we promote a state of relaxation that also supports the thyroid because a calmer nervous system allows for better communication between the brain and the thyroid gland to reduce that impact of chronic stress. A lot of times in brain retraining, you'll hear me talk about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is where we change negative thought patterns and emotional responses that might be contributing to stress. So NLP techniques like using affirmations or retraining, catching negative thoughts, rewriting them, saying the healthier thought in place, can reframe limiting beliefs or emotional patterns that keep the body in a stress response. So if we alter those patterns, using NLP, it supports mental and emotional well-being, which then can benefit our thyroid health. This is also important if you've been stuck in thyroid dysregulation or imbalance for a long time and you're working on healing your thyroid. We talk a lot about no longer identifying with being sick. So if someone had hypothyroidism for a long time where they were always tired, always exhausted, kind of depressed, even when you begin to heal the thyroid, your brain has hardwired these paths of like, no, I can't do it. I'm too tired. I'm too depressed to do that. We need to be actively working on healing and changing those neural pathways at the same time we're healing the physical cause of maybe what initially caused some of those thoughts and behaviors to set in, because it's not enough. We've seen time and time again, it's not enough to just do the physical healing. We have to rewire the negative thoughts and behaviors that we've started to get just familiar with. Even if it started on a physical level, it's now also at a mental and emotional level as well. And I wanted to talk about somatics. We did that a little bit in our meditation, like actually really coming into the body. Don't feel like you are all up in your head and you can't be in your body. That is such a common kind of dissociation factor that we bring in a lot when we've been chronically ill or stressed out, is we become very cerebral. We don't want to experience the feeling, the emotion. We don't want to be embodied. If we can release stored tension and trauma in the body, if we can actually come into our body and feel the places and feel that we really are here, our body is part of our head. Our head is not out here floating away somewhere. Our mind, our body, our emotions, they're all linked. And so somatic tools, like feeling your body, humming, singing, moving, yoga, dance, swaying back and forth, bilateral stimulation, tapping, giving a nice squeeze, progressive muscle relaxation. This is going to release physical and emotional tension. And this can help to alleviate the burden on the limbic system and bring our awareness to the parts of our body that might have stuck or stagnant energy. I talk a lot about adding in just time in nature to calm the limbic system, bring us into more parasympathetic or just a healthy nervous system state, reduce our stress, lower our cortisol levels, support our overall well-being. There's a lot of data out there on red light and, being around the ocean, like all these different things that can impact thyroid health, impact brain health, our nervous system. And also breath work, enhancing vagal tone, the vagus nerve that innervates the whole way down through our neck by our thyroid, through our chest, down to our gut, to help with parasympathetic activation, to reduce inflammation, and also bringing that breath work through our neck where our thyroid is just brings more energy there. And we look again at how all of this comes together, right? So I know something I'm working on in a different video is talking about some of this tug of war, this push and pull, where there are layers here. Limbic system healing, nervous system healing, brain retraining, I think is the core foundational thing that we can all do to improve our health. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like people still can't get a weird thyroid test result or struggle with a thyroid imbalance just because they do brain retraining. Or a list of some different things I looked up because I thought it was interesting that people have talked to me about, which, I said pregnancy, Epstein-Barr virus, Hashimoto's, autoimmune thyroiditis, Lyme disease impacting your thyroid, EMF exposure, adrenal fatigue where chronic stress disrupts the HPA axis and the adrenals being overworked, can suppress the thyroid function. Trauma can, impact our thyroid. Mast cell activation can affect our thyroid. So I don't want to ever pretend yep, limbic system healing is all you need. And there are so many layers where if you know for a fact that Epstein-Barr virus is what initially triggered your thyroid issue, by all means, go to your naturopath, take the herbs they recommend, do the things. Don't ignore the other beautiful healing tools that we have in this world, but know that at the very core of everything, if you are able to regulate your limbic system, to shift out of chronic stress, to decrease your inflammation, to change your thoughts, change your behaviors, change your outlook, that is going to be key for any healing to occur and for healing to be lasting healing. And I think a lot of people who come into brain retraining recognize this. They're like, yeah, the last time I thought I was healing and I took all these meds and I did all the treatments they told me to do, I felt better for a little bit and then I just fell right back into it. Or then I picked up another disease or illness or whatever, because we're getting stuck in that cycle of chronic stress, fear of the whole world, fear of the germs, fear of, what's going to happen to me next? Oh, I'm just so stuck. I'm always tired and depressed, so there's no way I'm actually feeling better. We need to regulate that limbic system, regulate the HPA axis, reduce the chronic stress, rewire the brain and the response to the stress, regulate our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis so that we're not producing stress hormones and we're not as inflamed. We know that chronic inflammation sometimes is a deciding factor on people who are exposed to the same germs, the ones who actually get sick and the ones that can fight it off. A lot of it is how much inflammation and, predisposition we have to our immune system being weakened. And the more that we work on lowering our stress levels and retraining our brain and helping to be in a restful state, the stronger our immune system is, the less inflamed we are. So this is, like I said, it's one of those things where if you're dealing with thyroid issues, utilize every tool at your disposal. Take the limbic system healing into account, listen to what your doctors are saying, do what your intuition tells you, start to notice embodiment. I have a wonderful friend who's a healer and she's really into the chakra systems, and she says people with thyroid issues, that throat chakra, is there stuff that you feel like you've been holding things in? You have so much that you want to say, but you feel like you can't say it, so it's all locked in there? Or did you have a trauma at some point in your life where you wanted to say something, or you wanted to scream, or you wanted to cry and you couldn't, and it got stuck, and that energy just caused dysfunction and imbalance? So there are so many layers to healing these individual health issues, and part of what I want to start doing more on this channel is working through those layers of some individual diagnoses for people who feel really stuck and don't know where to go. And they're like, I'm doing the brain retraining, but this is my issue, and you're not supposed to talk about symptoms and diagnoses in a lot of brain retraining communities. I think we should open up the conversation. So if someone is really stuck, it's not going to bring the disease back. It's not like some kind of jinx or taboo or spell where we say the name of a diagnosis and it's like this creepy thing. We are working through trauma, and sometimes the trauma has to do with naming it and working through the fear of a diagnosis. And so that's something that we can work on together. So I hope this was helpful today. Hope you guys have an amazing week full of healing, and we will talk soon.